Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the AUG SMG, which is the first one you unlock in the game, but the last one that you're going to get here. And interestingly, the real gun, the Steyr AUG, is a 5.56 rifle, and it's quite large. However, what we're given by default is the 9mm down-converted AUG PDW type weapon in this game. And overall, the AUG is a good SMG, but I can't quite figure out what to make of it. I couldn't figure out what it's good for, what it's bad at. Overall, I think that it's just a good gun that doesn't fit really well into any category or niche. That's kind of something I try to do here on In Depth, is find what something is optimal for and put it in a box and tell you how to really maximize that and run with it. But I think the AUG is just an overall generally good weapon, and you don't need a lot of hyper specialization to perform well with it. One quick thing before we move on to the damage is that yes, I'm still giving away the 2080 Ti. I think that goes on till the end of this month. The link to the giveaway is down there below in the description. It's literally retweet, Mixer, and Discord, so really fast. Now let's talk about the damage, and we'll have several damage profiles to go over because there are two different ammo types for this weapon. The 9mm damage will be 34 to 18 to the chest and to the torso. This is very similar to that of the MP5, and that means that it can be a 3-shot kill up close. The 9mm unique damage areas are the head and the limbs. Also, like the MP5, it'll deal 55 damage to the head, decreased down to 29 at a distance. The limbs will be 30 to 16, so you'll need quite a few shots to kill there. And again, that's 2 headshots to kill up close, which is extremely powerful. That is just like, sometimes you can literally delete people. They can't react to that. There's no dodging, there's no nothing. And this is almost identical to the MP5, and it has an overall very high damage for a submachine gun. So when it comes to SMGs, you're really looking at 3 of them that are high damage: MP5, Bison, and the AUG. Those are your high damage monsters. However, if you don't like 9mm, you can upgrade this weapon to 5.56. The 5.56mm ammo will deal 42 damage up close, decreasing down to 25 at a distance. However, this is only for hitting chest and up. This is sort of like, you know, clavicle to just below the pecs. And this is really good. This makes it a 3 to 4 shot kill weapon. Being a minimum of 4 shot kills at any range that I could test at was very nice. However, there are some unique damage areas that are somewhat less flattering. The headshot damage actually goes down a little bit, 50 to 29. I don't think it's going to make much difference there because it's still a 2-shot kill. The torso isn't quite as impressive. It'll be 5-shot kill at long ranges, and the limbs are the same. So if you're using this weapon this way, you need to be very accurate and be hitting head and upper body shots to really optimize it. We're going to get into it here in a little bit, but the 5.56 rounds don't increase your 3-shot kill range very much. However, they do help you at long ranges. Just like the 10mm ammo in the MP5, this is really much more to help you at long range than it is up close, and here are the numbers. The base AUG will get a 3-shot kill at 11 meters. The 5.56 gives you a whole extra meter of range at 12. The extended barrel is 14, lightweight barrel is 14, and the ultra long barrel is 16 meters. So not a lot that you can really do to really like boost that 3-shot range. Not a crazy amount, because let's be honest, 5 meters is not very far in Call of Duty. And I generally don't run barrels on this weapon. I also prefer the 9mm rounds and up-close rushing on the AUG over the 5.56. The 5.56 just isn't as good as running a naturally 5.56 weapon like a Kilo or an M4 or anything like, or FAMAS for that matter, because you'll need a couple attachments to get it going properly, and even then it typically does not have as good of an overall range. Now, the up-close damage will be higher on the 5.56. You can 3-shot, whereas most of those weapons won't. However, the recoil on this one and the overall performance at long range are going to make it perform worse as a rifle, in my opinion. That's the opinion part of In Depth. Let's move back to the rate of fire. The 9mm rate of fire on the AUG is 740 rounds per minute. The 5.56mm rate of fire is 680 rounds per minute, so you get a slight decrease there, but overall both of these are pretty average for SMGs and or rifles. It's kind of a hybrid, like right in between the two. And some of you will ask about burst fire. I measured burst fire at slightly slower than 5.56 at 650 with about 300 milliseconds of burst delay. Generally really don't recommend that. I don't think you're going to have a good time. Burst fire firing with this weapon. When it comes to the time to kill calculations, the time to kill is overall very fast within the 3-shot kill range, much like the MP5, but it begins to struggle once you start hitting 4 or 5 or up in some cases 6 shots to kill. The AUG seems to be designed very much so to be a close quarters combat weapon and not anything else. And as a heads up, the 5.56 rounds will increase your recoil a bit. It's not the worst, but you'll notice it swapping back and forth. No clever skits or funny things today. Still have some stuff going on and I can't film cute things like that, so please support me by visiting Astro Gaming via the link down there below in the description. Pick yourself up a nice headset, a nice controller. Personally, I use the A40 at home. That's just a recent conversion. Previously, I was on the A50 train, and the link in the description below will give you 5% off of all Astro products. Even if you don't plan on buying anything, do me a favor and click the link and poke around. Just take a look at it. You might change your mind. Okay, let's move on to the aim down sights time. The ADS time on the AUG is 250 milliseconds for the base weapon, which is a little bit slow actually for submachine guns. It's not very snappy. The extended barrel will be 300 milliseconds, which is quite slow for an SMG. Lightweight is 283, so it's not particularly light. And the long barrel will increase it up to a colossal 333 milliseconds, which is brutal if you're running this as an SMG. TAC laser offers you a little bit of improvement, 1 frame of improvement really, at 233 milliseconds, so not as powerful as it has been in previous or on previous weapons. It's a little bit weak on the AUG. If you add the 32 round 9mm, that'll go up 1 frame to 266. If you go 5.56, that'll be 250. The drum mag on 5.56 is really heavy at 300, and the stippled and the FTAC close quarters combat stock are both 233 each. So it's kind of weird how these aren't normal numbers for an SMG, but the AUG isn't really a normal SMG. Sprint out times are overall on the snappy side of things. The base is 133, stippled is 133, and I think that's just because it's all happening so fast, the benefit is less than a frame. 5 milliwatt laser is 1 frame less at 116. However, interestingly, when you start stacking these, you can take your minimum aim down sights time down to 200 milliseconds, and I put a little asterisk next to that one because it was almost splitting frames on this one. I almost wanted to call it 183 milliseconds. It was really, really close. And the minimum sprint out time, you can actually improve down to 100 milliseconds, which is quite nice in my opinion. However, that's not really the focus on the AUG. At the end of the day, the AUG handles slower than most of the submachine guns, but it's faster than most of the rifles. It's comfortably in between the two, but in my opinion, I think that makes it more difficult to use. And handling attachments can help the AUG, especially when stacked together. They can be nice, but you can't make the AUG competitive with other SMG speeds. The MP7, MP5, all these other guns are just going to be faster and snappier than the good old AUG. AUG recoil is overall low and easy to control in my opinion. You won't need many recoil attachments. I will admit that when you kit it for long range and you're doing like the super long range zoom sight, which we'll talk about in a minute, in the 5.56 and a few other things, the recoil gets a little bit more difficult, but it's still not too bad. Typically, I don't use more than 1 recoil attachment at a time. This is a weapon, however, where I do not like the iron sights. They obstruct my view of the target way too much, and when I look at them, yes, I've seen worse. Yes, other guns have worse, but this is a gun where I really need to hit those first 3 shots. I really need good target acquisition. I don't need to lose track of people when I'm flinching, and the iron sights cause all of that. They're a little bit bulky in my opinion, so optical attachments are your friends. Red dot's going to be best, but if you're running this as a rifle, using that unique AUG A3 integrated sight is really cool, and it's also a very clear and easy to use sight, which I enjoy. The zoom on it's a little bit strong, so it'll sometimes make it feel like the gun's kicking more. It's really not. It's just the zoom magnifying it. And you can extend your 9mm mags up to 32, which is a fantastic attachment. We'll be talking about it shortly. And if you're running 5.56, that's either going to be 30 or 60, so you have a lot of choices over the base 25 rounds, which is a weakness of this weapon. Only having a 25 round mag in an SMG is definitely not ideal in a lot of ways. If you're reloading your weapon with 9mm, it's actually really fast at 1.22 seconds when full and 1.38 when empty. So this is a really snappy reloading gun. However, However, when you upgrade to 5.56, it's a fair bit slower. The full is 1.61, which, still isn't actually that bad, but empty is 2.17 seconds, which in my opinion is really slow, and that's a lot of downtime. Makes me very, very scared. And one of the good things about the weapon is that both of the ammo types are common. Unlike like the 300 Blackout or 10mm or whatever, where you don't really find it, you'll find a lot of 9mm rounds, and you'll find a lot of 5.56 rounds on every map because those are the two most popular ammo types in this game. It won't be that hard to pick up other stuff. So you're not going to need fully loaded, you're not going to need scavenger, and you're not going to need extended mags in that it extends your ammo pool. I think you need them for spraying. That's a different story though. Overall, the AUG is a great SMG, and it's a top weapon in Modern Warfare. However, I have to admit, as good as the AUG is, the MP5 is just better. The MP5 has very similar ranges and performances. It shoots a little bit faster, so you've got a little bit faster time to kill. Damage is kind of like 1 point higher across the board. The range can be better depending on how you kit it. It's got better attachments for the gun, no doubt, especially when it comes to SMG handling and stuff like that. So the AUG, I have to admit, is inferior to the MP5, but that doesn't mean it's a bad gun. It's still a good gun, and it runs well. It's fun to play with. It was not that hard to get this gameplay. I was very happy with it, so it's difficult to say don't use it. Definitely use it if you enjoy it, but just keep in mind the MP5 is a little bit better. And the true AUG, the long-range AUG A3 build, is also suboptimal, at least compared to the other 5.56 rifles. If you just heard a little bump or scratch, that was my dog jumping on the couch. The other 5.56 rifles will sometimes shoot faster. They will all have significantly less recoil. They'll have higher muzzle velocity. They're not going to have that 3-shot kill range up close, which the AUG does, and that's kind of neat. But you'll use like 3 or 4 attachments to get this gun like 5.56 ready, whereas the other ones are just as good with no attachments, and you can use the attachments on those to make them faster, less recoil, better sights, something like that, whereas you really can't with the AUG. I really don't like running this weapon in 5.56, even though I am a Steyr AUG fangirl. I love that weapon. It's so fun, but I don't enjoy using it here in Modern Warfare. There is 2 setups I'm going to show you. One is the balanced SMG setup, and the other one is the true AUG setup. So I like running a red dot sight of choice. For me, that's like Solo Zero or GI Mini, something very clean, open, and easy to use. I run the FTAC CQC stock to minimize my ADS time a little bit. 32 round 9mm mags is a very minor penalty, and it's also nice to have 7 more shots because I do burn through my ammo really quick on this gun. I run stippled grip tape to help me with the ADS a little bit, and personally I would run tack laser on this to further help the ADS, so I just like it being a little bit faster. I kind of don't like the slow AUG, so a lot of this is geared towards speeding it up and clearing up my iron sights. However, I know a lot of you don't really like the laser. It kind of reveals your position, so if you're comfortable without using it, sleight of hand will work just as well. I think this is a great setup. I was able to shred with this setup. It's not hard. It's very similar to the MP5. However, a lot of you are going to want to use this as the Steyr AUG A3. Well, to do that, you're going to need the 30 round 5.56 mags. The 60 round mags are nice and all, but I think they slow the gun down too much, as if the long barrel that we're about to put on there doesn't. I run the FTAC stock and the tack laser again, and in some attempt to counteract these magazine and especially the barrel. The barrel is really the big one that holds me back. And finally, I put the unique sight on there, the one that the weapon comes with when you get it from the factory. It's actually really good in this game. I like the sight. The downside to this class is that it's going to kick more than most people are going to be comfortable with. It's not going to be a good feeling weapon. You'll have to fight it a little bit and mount with it. You can mitigate that recoil by adding or removing other things, but what I found is that the handling is so slow with the optic and the barrel and the mags and all that it's just brutal to hold. So I had to compromise and increase my recoil in order to decrease my aim down sights and handling times. Not what I'd recommend, but it can be fun on occasion. Guys, that is all for this in-depth episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful, and if you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.